Mr. Yorsky.
Hello.
How are you?
Okay.
You always sound so like whenever I actually ask you how you are, you're always like, "Oh, things are pretty good." And I'm like, "Really?" You're like, "Well, I've got this horrible illness and school is stressing me out something terrible and I've got like 5 million titles to review, but things are okay." You just, you're lighthearted about your stress is what I'm trying to tell you. Either that or, like, you've completely forgotten what it's like to live a life of any amount of relaxation. Which is funny, because when people imagine being, like, a video games journalist, they're like, oh, play games all day. That would be awesome.
It's better than previous jobs I have, but it's still a lot of work.
That's right. You used to dig ditches, didn't you?
Yeah.
You were a ditch digger.
I worked for an irrigation and landscaping company. But yeah, I mean stress is all relative, you know. So
I wouldn't know. I have like 2 levels of stress, none or everything.
No, it's like, yeah, everything's falling apart and I'm dying, but it could be worse. I could be playing Aliens Colonial Marines.
Ah, man. Looking back on those days, we were so carefree back in February, was it?
Before the Fire Nation attack.
before Gearbox Software unleashed that steaming turd of a game upon us. It had such promise. We were so naive, Austin. We thought we had the world by its little xenomorph tail. But no. No punishment rained down from the skies that day. I'll never be the same again. I don't know about you. God. So, what's happening? I trust that you weren't delayed because of anything, overly stressful and terrible, like scurvy.
I've never had scurvy. Perhaps it is more pleasant than my life at this point.
Your gums start bleeding and your skin goes gray. Tell me how that's more pleasant than anything you're going through right now. And I don't mean like, your gums bleed when you brush your teeth. I'm not talking like, ooh, I got a little bit of gingivitis. I'm just like, you're sitting down in the park with your best gal. It's a beautiful summer day. She's got a parasol out. You're talking about how wonderful your new sugar plantation in Indonesia is doing, and then all of a sudden, bloody gums. Just like everywhere. We're talking like, those commercials you see where it's like, are you tired of chopping tomatoes? And you see these people trying to mash knives down on tomatoes sideways. And this tomato is just fucking going everywhere. Like, that's not a cutting board anymore. It's a massacre floor is what it is. I'm talking like that much scurvy blood coming out your gums when you're like, well, the plantation and oh dear, excuse me.
I'll have to take your word for it. I'm not familiar with scurvy.
Why do you think everybody carried around handkerchiefs all that time? I mean, it's not because, tissue boxes were not invented yet. Partly maybe. But it was like, because we get about nowadays without carrying a whole box of Kleenexes with us. You can, leave your house and go to school and work and meet your girlfriend and have dinner and, nothing disastrous happens in which you require the use of, a handkerchief. But, back in the day, blood was coming out every orifice, man. All of them. All at once. And it was just here, use this.
I would like you to cite your sources on this, because I'm pretty sure people had handkerchiefs in case they, sneezed or something, because it happens. It wasn't they're not all medical emergencies.
Have you ever sneezed in public without a Kleenex? Were you okay?
Yes.
Did you make it? I'm not talking a super snotty one. I'm not talking hay fever from, I don't know. I'm not talking African hay fever.
That's racist.
It's not especially racist. It's just you add the word African to anything and it automatically sounds like it's way more deadly. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the continent. African killer bees. Tell me that doesn't sound scarier than killer bees.
Well, not that. I mean, that's second. I mean, Australian killer bees sounds deadliest.
African poison oak. I don't even know if that's a thing, but I'm already scared of it.
I like how we've just moved on from the topic of handkerchiefs and scurvy.
African penguins. Tell me. That doesn't sound horrific.
Aren't there, I mean, some, like, I don't know, maybe I'm going to sound like an idiot, but aren't there, like, penguins in, like, the very, very bottom of the continent?
There might be.
At the tip?
They sound scary. African scurvy.
I mean, scurvy is scurvy. It's a deficiency of vitamin C, right?
I don't know, maybe.
You don't even know what scurvy is?
No, I'm pretty sure it's a vitamin C deficiency.
Well,
at least that's what I learned from Gold Rush, the Sierra adventure game.
I just looked it up. Scurvy is a disease resulting from deficiency of vitamin C. Yeah, I was right. Where were you getting all your information? Did you read a book about scurvy? Did you watch a documentary?
I might have. What do you know about it? Don't challenge my knowledge.
I'm just curious.
You should challenge my knowledge. Remember, boys and girls, critical thinking is an important part of making your way in the world today. It takes everything you got. You
done?
Yeah.
Okay.
What? I wasn't going to launch into a song there or anything.
It felt like you were gearing up for a song.
I could understand how you might mistake that, but I was not doing that. Any resemblance to songs published or non-published, heretofore previously been alive or dead, is purely coincidental.
Okay, Johnny.
So do we even have any news stories that we want to talk about? I suppose we could talk about the Vgixes.
We could touch on the Vgixes.
I don't even want to talk about, like, the awards and the nominations, but, like, the announcements are pretty cool, always, I guess.
I mean, I didn't watch it, so I can't comment on the show itself, but if you want to just touch, like, a couple of announcements and awards or whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
And then there's, you want to talk about the NSA again? Some more of that stuff came out. I don't care anymore. I've lost all...
As I said today on my Twitter feed to somebody, I'm sure the NSA would probably, like, try and find a way of recording and or, like, invading LARPing. If they could, like, find a way in that wasn't suspiciously narc. Right, you are talking about them, like, infiltrating, like, World of Warcraft and Second Life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm saying the NSA would probably get their hands into, like, LARPing if they could do it without actually having, guys who have no business being at a LARP being like, hey, do you kids like this LARPing every weekend? I am a wizard. Magic missile?
Yeah, I don't know. I've lost the enthusiasm to discuss any of that kind of stuff anymore.
I'm not surprised. And I mean, it's not like it's illegal or anything like that. They're just fucking hanging out in World of Warcraft, recording what you say. I guess. It's a public forum. If you want to pony up like $10, $12 a month. Anybody can get their little recording fingers in there. All right, so we can talk about the Vgixes. Yep. We can talk about, what else can we talk about? We can talk about Peggle 2. Yeah, we could talk about that. Ooh, yeah. Don't you wanna talk about Peggle 2? You don't really? That's no. Fine.
I played a lot of games. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. I don't think we'll have any problem.
All right. Well, then, why don't we get this party started? And, get this party started. Are we going to get this party started? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another cutting episode of Taste and Texture. Yes, Taste and Texture, the online podcast dealing in the sheer innovation, the craziest culinary creations you will ever hear of on the internet. I'm your host, Johnny Maloney, and today we have an incredible guest with us. His name is Austin Yorsky, chef extraordinaire. We have Austin on the show, of course, because he is doing some incredible things with sand. Now, Austin, as I understand it, your love of sand as a culinary addition came from an old country-style barbecue in which somehow some sand on a beach party you were attending got mixed up in your fried chicken batter. and you just decided to go on ahead with it, and everybody fell in love with it anyways. Now, I want to ask you this question, because sand has for years been looked down upon as a food ingredient, particularly in sandwiches. People don't like sand in their sandwiches or in their fruit.
Actually, can I stop you there? Because did you hear about that? There was actually sand in the Taco Bell meat. It was like in the list of ingredients or whatever, because they got in trouble. There was like carbon silicate, or I guess, in there, which is it's just sand.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
You don't say.
So you're coming off like this is a joke about adding sand to food, but that's a thing in America.
Well, it is a joke, though. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, but you can't just, like, add sand to something, and then it'd be like, no, it's cool. Eat your sand taco.
But you can. It's to add, like, body to it, because such little of it is actually meat.
Well, I was just going to ask you, there are a lot of people who argue about sand as being a force for flavor or a force for texture. Which do you think is the most important thing that aspiring chefs in mind who should never eat sand? What do you think they should keep in mind when using sand as an ingredient that nobody should ever eat?
I don't think sand is dangerous to eat. It's basically just like little harmless granules.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Wow, That's Gross, the podcast. Wow, That's Gross, the podcast. We talk about things that happen in popular culture or ideas that people have about how to heal themselves, or health tips, or indeed new culinary creations. We have a guest on our show this week on Wow, That's Gross, the podcast, Chef Austin Yorsky, who says, eat sand, kids. It's good for you. Defend yourself, Yorsky.
I would rather eat sand than have sex on it. I'm from Florida. Beach sex sounds like a totally good idea. It is not.
Well, Can we talk about like the gradations of sand? Because North American sand is like, I mean, there's a reason it's like sandpaper. There's a reason why it's like sandpaper. People are like, sandpaper's rough. Don't rub that on your crotch or your butt. Yet people want to do it on the beaches. There is sand where it's like, you're like, ooh, that's like a fine talc powder.
Yeah, there are different kinds. My experiences have all been negative. I'm just going to say, keep sand out of your love life. If it finds its way into your burrito, not as hazardous as you would assume. I don't eat Taco Bell anymore, or ever really, like once or twice. But that's the thing that happened. I think they had to change their thing because they got in trouble. So you think it's a texture thing then, more than taste? It's almost negligible. I never noticed it. When you ate Taco Bell. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Guilty Confessions, the podcast. I, your host, Johnny Maloney, am going to be dealing with an anonymous, not so anonymous confession here. Our guest today is Mr. Austin Yorsky, who's going to tell us about the days when he was a Taco Bell addict. Austin, Now I understand that you were actually pretty ashamed of the days where you relied on Taco Bell for all 3 meals in the day. Do you have anything to say about what it was that attracted you to eating the food? Was it the flavor? Was it the sand? The only times I ever actually found myself at Taco Bell when I was hanging out with stoners at 3 a.m. So, I mean, those outings just naturally tend towards that location, regardless of your wishes. I wouldn't know. In Canada here, Taco Bells are pretty rare. I've seen one in my life in Canada. Really? We have a lot. Oh, I know. I've been to America, which is why I said I've seen one in my life in Canada. I've seen, if I could get an album of all the Taco Bells I've seen, it would probably be bigger than, my photo book growing up because of how many I've seen in America. There are a lot of them. I don't have any excuses for that. So, how do you feel about sand as a food additive? As a food additive? You're trying to make me defend it. Like I said, you shouldn't be in there. But if it's in small enough amounts that it takes a while for people to even notice, I guess. I mean, I'm asking you the legit question here. Is this cutting edge cuisine? I don't think so. And are we just so biased against sand that we can't see the genius that Taco Bell has perpetrated
upon the American public.
I think I'm gonna veto sand as a legitimate culinary option.
All right.
I'm gonna take that stand. I might, in hindsight, once Iron Chef rolls around and uses that as their ingredient of the day. Are they still doing Iron Chef? I don't know. Maybe I'll look like an idiot then, but right now, taking a stand.
All right. Well, you heard it here, folks. Austin Yorsky taking the bold stand. Sand, not a food.
Controversial.
I feel like at that point in time I should say, like, over to you, Jim, or something, and, like, somebody be like, at a news desk, be like, wow, that's interesting. Sand, not a food. Didn't hear that before.
Oh, Jim, you dipshit.
Yeah, Jim. Who taught you about food? And not the Jim I like. There's a Jim on the internet I like. Hi, Jim.
Shout out to my boy Jim.
What's up, Jim? Just that one Jim, though. I mean, just that one. I don't really know any other Jims, so I don't feel qualified to make any judgments on the quality of their characters.
Of their Jimminess.
Of their Jimminess.
Of their Jimmies, if you will.
You had to go there, didn't you? You had to rustle some jimmies.
I hate using meme humor, but sometimes it's just perfect. I gotta say, like, of all meme humor, I really like using that phrase in real life to people at work. When, like, people get a little riled, and I'm like, hey, don't get your jimmies rustled, and they kind of look at me like. It's a good one because it doesn't, like, it's not like the Doge meme that you can, like, use it in real life or anything, and people get it. I was at my brother's earlier this week, and he was doing something, or no, I don't remember how it happened, but one of us was just like, "Wow, stop." Wow, too much. It was just much.
But you gotta be in the room, or you gotta be in the general. You have to occupy a certain, like, place in that internet map, and you've all gotta be there for you to get that. But if you say to somebody, don't get your jimmies rustled, then everybody's kind of like, whoa, somebody's jimmies got rustled.
Because it still has enough context divorced of the meme to be like...
Exactly. It exists independent as a phrase. So. Yeah. Speaking of things that are divorced from this podcast, video games.
Fuck video games. Apparently, Jeff Cayley and some other guy did a show where they talked about video games, and they made trans jokes, and they joked about killing hookers, and they joked about nerds in their basements drinking Mountain Dew. I didn't watch it. Apparently it was awful.
That sounds like something that a lot of gamers would really love, considering that they really abhor cheesy, stereotypical images of themselves and, get butthurt over everything.
I don't know. I wish I could talk more about it, but I cannot subject myself to that.
Neither did I. Did they even do a live broadcast this year? Was it on TV?
Yeah, it should have been on Spike TV.
Because for some reason I was operating under the potentially faulty information that it was only going to be a stream this year.
As far as I know, it was on TV, but
that's unfortunate. Because TV already does a pretty good job of itself, of being ridiculous for the most part.
Actually,
what with your Duck Dynasties and your Real Housewives of New Jersey and your Cake Fight? Is Cake Fight a show? I want to say that Cake Fight is a show. I don't know. I don't do reality TV. I'm kind of an asshole about it. I know I'm doing it, but I'm, like, super judgmental when people, like, admit they watch reality TV, and I have to, like, dial it back and be like, stop being an asshole, Austin. It's fucking everywhere. I don't watch it either, there's, like, I can count on one finger, I think, all of the reality TV shows that I've enjoyed over the course of my life. But, like, you got to admit, it's a cultural force now. And it makes TV look stupid.
I've been saying, actually, it seems that it's gravitating towards the two extremes. Like, TV is getting a lot worse in most of it, but also a lot better in other areas. Like,
I watch those shows.
Yeah, like, I've been saying that, like, Adventure Time and Avatar are like two of like the greatest cartoons I've ever seen, and they both are really recent.
It's weird. I've only watched a couple episodes of Adventure Time. I haven't watched Avatar, and people are going to be like, oh, fuck it, let's pull Johnny's card right now. In fact, I think somebody just shot at me from outside the apartment, which is weird that they know where I live. Or, you know, like maybe that had nothing to do with Adventure Time. In any case, but Avatar is like, sorry, Avatar, not Adventure Time. Avatar is one of those things where I'm like, I know that if I watch that first episode, you're not going to hear from me for like a week. It's going to be a project.
Mm-hmm. And then you have the things like all the AMC dramas that are going on right now. You have like
some of the AMC dramas, because if you fucking say Walking Dead, I'm going to smash your face in.
Have we had we had the Walking Dead conversation, didn't we? About how it's basically it's a soap opera and it's kind of enjoyable in that sense, but it's not good.
It was like it started really strong and then all of a sudden it just went stupid.
Because they lost Frank Darabont, didn't they? Wasn't he the guy who was directing it?
No, it wasn't that they lost Frank Darabont. They deep-sixed the entire writers' staff. They had a consistent team of writers that was working on the first season, and then they decided, surprise, surprise, you know, just like, because I can remember the last time this happened, really, really worked with Heroes. They decided that they were like, oh, no, fuck this. We don't need a consistent team. Let's just, you know, like, tap people. We'll be like, you write this episode, you write this episode, and give them like 1 or 2 plot points, and then they can just fucking throw something out there. Which is why, if you honestly watch like the second season, it's like watching a bunch of schizophrenic manic depressives collectively hallucinate. Because none of the characters behave consistently. They all do ridiculously stupid things to set up a plot point for, like, the next episode or, like, something that's going to happen later in the episode, because none of the writers had a cogent grip on the characters or, like, the plot arc. It was awful.
Are we talking about The Walking Dead now?
Both.
Or Heroes?
Both.
Okay.
Well, because they lost, you know, after the first season of Heroes, which was awesome, they canned the writing staff, because the writing staff was like, shit, yeah, we've got a hit here. We want a little bit more money. We're a success. And the studio was like, you might get a little bit more money, or you might get fired. Go fuck yourself. And then kicked them out to the curb and hired a bunch of new people who had no fucking idea what they were writing. It's like, hey, do you want to write a television drama in primetime about superheroes? What are your credentials? I did some One Life to Live. You're on board.
I've never seen Heroes, but I was just thinking about this second season of Walking Dead where Lori just takes a car and just crashes it for no reason.
It was awful. I mean, I watched the whole like second season front to end, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I made it to the third season. But I got like 3 episodes into the third season. I'm like, I didn't. I didn't make it to the third season. It was like that last, you know, that soldier who's like walking away from the battle, like bleeding his guts out, and he's like, I did it. I made it. I didn't make it. I got killed in the middle of the second season, and it took me like, I don't know, fucking like 8 episodes to realize.
Were you Jacob's laddering?
I was Jacob's laddering. I was Jacob's laddering that shit.
Real hard.
Yeah, but I mean...
Let's just talk about TV for the rest of this podcast.
Mad Men's great. Fucking love Mad Men. It's awesome.
I stopped keeping up with it. It was taking a little bit of dip in quality, like 3 seasons in or something. I can't remember.
No, I get you. It's a little weird. You know, like I like Mad Men because of the dramatic sensibilities of it. I feel like it's kind of become one of those shows where you have to have like been an actor or, you know, been a director or something, or, you know, wanted to get into the medium to really be like, ooh, this show's amazing.
There's like the craft of it?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a distinct element of the way that the show is made and like the people in the show as opposed to like where the show goes. Mm-hmm. Because that's it kind of it's lost, it's gone off the rails a couple of times. I totally understand.
Yep.
But Hannibal's really good, and that's not an AMC show.
No, that's in my queue. I have like 20 shows I need to watch. I'm gonna have to watch Attack on Titan. Everyone keeps telling me to watch that. I got to watch The Wire and something else. Then I'll get around to Hannibal on your recommendation.
It's really good. I like it.
I'm also excited for the new Doctor because Matt Smith is the worst.
You know what? I never really had a problem with Matt Smith, but I can't say that he really jazzed me. I wasn't jazzed.
It was a combination. I mean, part of the blame is the material, but I don't know. Everyone has their favorite, and it's like after Tenet, I was like, I think I'm gonna sit this one out.
Yeah, it's always rough to see somebody follow up after your favorite, too.
Mm.
I don't know if that was David Tennant your favorite? Is that what's going on here?
I think so, yeah.
He was mine. I think David Tennant's one of the best actors of this generation. His Hamlet's fucking amazing. But yeah, it's like Saturday Night Live. You know, no,
Yeah.
You know that when you get introduced to Saturday Night Live, it's the fucking funniest thing you've ever seen, and then a few years later, like the whole cast is different, and you're like, wow, this sucks.
Yeah.
But then later in life, you meet people who are like, oh man, Saturday Night Live used to be so funny with this guy and this guy and this guy, and you're like, all those people fucking suck. What are you talking about? Go to hell.
I see the same thing in video games. If you want to bring it there, it's like whatever Zelda you grew up with is the best Zelda, and like you won't hear any arguments against it.
Yeah.
I've noticed that. It's like I'm all about Majora's Mask, but for years, like all anyone that I was friends with cared about was Ocarina, and now I'm hearing people who are a little bit younger, and they're like, oh, Wind Waker's the best, obviously, and it's a generational thing.
Yeah, nostalgia. It's a powerful force.
I guess we gotta talk about the VGX now, just a little bit.
Yeah, television and video games.
We'll come back to it once we're done with the obligatory video game stuff.
Yeah, all right, that's fair enough. So yeah, you didn't watch the show, I understand it.
Did not.
I would judge you, Austin, if I didn't watch it either, but I didn't. I would judge you if I watched it, but I didn't. So no judgments. I think we're on the same page here.
Yeah, we have very similar feelings on this. Did you see the winners, though? Do you want me to clue you in?
Yeah, let's hear about the winners, because I didn't want to give them the website traffic.
I talked about this last week, how the categories were self-defeating, and as I predicted, the winners bear that out. Grand Theft Auto 5 won Game of the Year.
Oh.
But Naughty Dog won Studio of the Year. Which raises the question, if Naughty Dog is the best developer of this year, how come their product is not as good as Rockstar, who did not win Studio of the Year?
I think that it's because of Naughty Dog's pro hug policy and Rockstar's suspiciously silent on hugs policy.
It's because it's a popularity contest, and Grand Theft Auto has all the big name draw to it, where Naughty Dog has that. Uncharted and blah 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 blah.
I recognize that. I do. I would like to think that it had something to do with hugs. Like if I was in a room with a Rockstar developer and a Naughty Dog developer, and I'm like, right, who's got hugs? The Naughty Dog guy would be like, come here, bro.
I would hope so. Also interesting, Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, won RPG of the Year, which is weird because I am playing a game this week, which I'll talk about later, which is suspiciously like Ni no Kuni, in that it is Ni no Kuni. So we'll hear more about that in a couple minutes. All right. Other things, Best Actor and Best Actress went to, who do you think it went to?
Well, here's the problem. Is that I need to know what role it went to.
Spoilers, they're both from The Last of Us.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah. They didn't stretch much for this one.
Well, then I guess it must have been, what's his name? Troy Baker, is that it?
Yeah, Troy Baker was nominated for two of the four.
Yeah, it was
BioShock
category. Infinite and Last of Us, but he won for Last of Us then, right?
Yes.
All right. Good for Troy Baker and his beard. Not necessarily his beard, but his bearded characters.
And Ashley Johnson won for Ellie. Both the Last of Us actors won, which is not entirely surprising, but it was funny that Troy Baker had a 50% chance of winning.
Yeah.
He's so prolific.
These days. They say he's the next Nolan North, who was the last Steve Bloom.
They come and go. Surprising that nobody from Beyond won Best Actor or Actress. I could have sworn that the big Hollywood talent would have drawn somebody.
Well, don't you know that he's the underdogs? He makes the underdogs, I should say, pardon me. Mr.
Troy Baker?
No, not Troy Baker. I'm talking about the oh god.
Oh, are you talking about
confused here. David Cage. David Cage. David Cage is the underdog because he understands video games in a way that nobody understands video games.
Oh god.
He video games better than anybody, and we know that because nobody likes his video games, which makes them good.
And the last one I wanted to point out was Best Soundtrack, which went to Grand Theft Auto because they could afford several hundred licensed songs.
I think that's really stupid. I'm just say it.
It's really stupid because, I mean, you've played The Last of Us. You know that beautiful-ass soundtrack they got for it.
Awesome. So good. Original and stirring and chilling and just minimalist. Like, it didn't do too much. It wasn't overproduced.
Yep. Beautiful.
What won Best Indie Game?
I think Gone Home.
Yeah. And Best PC Game, which is pretty much the same category as Best Indie Game, as I recall.
As far as VGX is concerned. I'm going to double check here. I just wanted to point out another thing is that another thing that lost in Best Soundtrack was Ni no Kuni, which was scored by the guy who does all the Studio Ghibli music. So that's pretty galling.
Can I just go ahead and say it right now? Studio Ghibli is one of the silliest names I've ever heard in my entire life.
Perhaps it sounds better in Japanese.
Probably.
Yeah, Gone Home won PC and Indie.
See? Same thing.
Apparently some people were mad. I don't follow anyone who said any of the incendiary stuff, but from retweets, I understand some people were very mad about, quote, that lesbian game winning everything.
Right, yeah. Because God forbid lesbians have feelings. And God forbid that those feelings feel like human feelings. That when you play, you feel. God damn it.
But more importantly, and much more interestingly, there were several announcements and reveals at the award show. That's the stuff I actually care about.
Me too.
They showed some Witcher 3. They showed some Donkey Kong.
Oh, I know they did. I mean, one of those two I know they did, at least. Guess which one?
But, I mean, the thing that stole the show, did you see it's called No Man's Sky?
No Man's Sky from, what is it, Hello Games?
Hello Games, maker of
Hello.
Hello Games, studio behind Joe Danger.
Yeah.
And it is a procedurally generated space exploration game made by 4 people that looks like a next-gen, like AAA game almost. It looks really impressive, and everyone was, like, basically freaking out when they saw it.
Yeah, I have had a chance to see No Man's Sky. And what's more is actually, if you guys are interested, one of the fellas over on Rock Paper Shotgun actually had a chance to see the trailer and sit down with the Graham Smith is his name, over on Rock Paper Shotgun. Had a chance to sit down and see that trailer a few days before everybody else saw it on the VGXs in a room with the 4 guys from the development studio, and he actually got a good deal of talking in with them, things that they were willing to talk about the game. So that's well, I'd like to talk about it with you for a second here, Austin, if that's okay. But if you're looking more depth, Rock Paper Shotgun, they're your men with the plans.
A great site. It's funny, they don't have like more content than everyone else. They just have better like writing. I just like the way they write.
Yeah, I agree utterly and absolutely. But yeah, so what I've learned, at least from No Man's Sky, is that it's basically the developers like to say, even though we don't like to say this, that this is they're saying that they don't like to say this, but it's rather like Minecraft, DayZ. I think the Rock Paper Graham Smith says it's rather like Starbound in 3D. So yeah, it looks pretty tight.
Everyone's been kind of on the lookout, just kind of a little bit, for the next Minecraft. You know, the thing that's going to blow up in the next gen, the little indie thing that's going to become a household name. Do you think this is it? Are we putting the cart before the horse already?
I don't know if it is, because it's one thing to kind of like give Minecraft a reskin and then just go, oh hey, it's Minecraft, only better. But I'm not sure that's what Minecraft is missing, because the next Minecraft that comes out, it's got to be as charming as Minecraft. It's got to be intuitive. It's got to be interesting. It's definitely got to look better because we've seen more and more and more pixel, voxel, clone styles of Minecraft pop out. Nothing's really broken through the way Minecraft did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to have to look better. But
it might be completely divorced from quality. I know, like, Leon did that episode of his old show, Heart of Gaming. It was called Ugly Blocks of Nothing.
Yeah.
Where he just ripped into Minecraft. But it's not... The reason Minecraft is the biggest thing since sliced bread isn't because it's better than every other game. It's just popular. It's, like, inexplicable almost in the way that it's just, like, just get in there and do some stuff. And it's like, when I see No Man's Sky, I mean, we haven't seen too much of it, but it feels like it could be a thing where you just sit and watch Let's Plays of it for no particular reason on a lazy Sunday, not because it's good, but maybe it just has that strange magnetic quality.
And that's definitely possible. Definitely possible. I mean, the great thing that Minecraft had going for it was that it was basically your imagination, the game. You know, it was heavily moddable. It was customizable. It ran like crap. It really did. But at least it didn't really require that much. But you know, there was an intangible quality. It was doing something too that was really nobody else was doing at the time. Now we can talk about we talk about roguelikes all the time now. We talk about Minecraft clones, and that's because suddenly these things are everywhere again. But yeah, there might be. I can say this at least. There is certainly an X factor going on for No Man's Sky in its art design. There's something super fucking fantastic about it. Like, just at least, you know, in the way, because they claim that the whole game is procedurally generated, right? They're like, every atom is procedurally generated. I'm like, you guys generate atoms? Whoa!
That has to be metaphorical atoms.
Yeah. Yeah, but, you know, you get that, like, undersea scene, and then it pulls up onto the beach, and then there's that, like, red grass in the sky, and there's, like, fucking spaceships flying around, and immediately, like, my imagination just went, oh? You know, it would be amazing to me if it was, like, a 3D FTL, or what was that? There was a game that Notch was working on that he stopped because he was like, yeah, it's too much.
It was all numbers. It was like 10 to the millionth power times C or something.
Yeah, something like that. And it, like, for, you know, when I saw this trailer for No Man's Sky, I was like, uh-oh, somebody ripped Notch's idea. But then, you know, the reason why he was excited about his game is that he was going to have, like, fully functional computers in it that were, like, inside your video game. And I'm like, yeah, you go ahead and try that.
That sounds like more work than it's worth.
Yeah. But, I mean, No Man's Sky, when you say it stole the show, I agree with you entirely. It stole my show. I came home on Saturday night, and my show was gone.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple more announcements. We can touch on them quickly. There was some Quantum Break gameplay that we saw. That was the first time. This is Remedy, the people who made Alan Wake and Max Payne.
Yep.
It's the Xbox One exclusive they're making. Did you see the footage?
I did.
So it's a third-person shooter with a time control gimmick.
So it's kind of like Max Payne.
Yeah, actually. I was thinking of, what the fuck was that? There's another game I can't remember now.
Singularity.
Yeah, Singularity is a good example.
Except
that was first person.
In third person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Prince of Persia. Only with guns.
Just because it's a third person shooter doesn't mean it's not going to be good or innovative, but that does kind of temper my enthusiasm for what they were talking. They were like, it's going to be so groundbreaking and innovative. You've never seen anything like it. And it's like, it's a cover shooter with some, like, cinematic stuff. Like, That's not unheard of. Mind
you, that's not really the reason why you and I, Austin, play Remedy games, is it?
For the shooting?
We're not like, wow, you know the best action game in all existence is Alan Wake.
Yeah. We play Remedy for the writing and the style and the weird little touches they like to put in.
Yeah, and if they can do that, which I'm confident they can, then I will be pleased.
I can just imagine the meeting that Remedy had where Sam Lake is in there with the Microsoft, executives or whatever, and he's like, I have this really cool idea, right? You can control time, and there's all this like really cool imagery of like broken glass suspended in the air, and they're like, can you shoot dudes? It's really important. It's important for our core demographics that you be able to shoot a lot of dudes. Because, look at the biggest Microsoft exclusives. Gears of War, Halo, blah, blah, blah. It's about shooting dudes.
There's a lot of dudes getting shot.
And I said this about Remember Me, and I said this about Bioshock Infinite. It's like some of the really coolest, most interesting new IP and like new settings and new ideas are
ruined. They're ruined by shooting dudes.
So much shooting dudes. If they just cut all that out, man.
Or at least stemmed it down. So it'd be like, what's it about? Oh, it's a game with this really rich atmosphere and amazing setting and compelling characters. And then, you do shoot a couple of dudes.
I would take like a Shadow of the Colossus approach. Like, there's a couple dudes that need to be shot. But when that happens, it's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it, You have, half a clip scrounged from under a desk, and there's a dude, and, shit's going down, and time is warped and space is bendable.
And you're all like, do I shoot this dude? I'm so used to shooting dudes that that's my first impulse, but I'm not sure if this dude needs shooting.
Pretty much. Yeah, as an X-Bone tech demo, the visuals shown off in Quantum Break look pretty cool, but I'm not as invested in the idea as I thought I would be when I finally saw the gameplay, which basically looked like Alan Wake, Max Payne, Gears of War style.
I still think it's hilarious that they're doing the live action. Like, I know they're calling it a TV show, but it's not really a TV show.
It's really unclear. They keep saying it's a video game and TV experience. Does that mean there's going to be like episodes of like watchable content like in it, out of it?
I hope that it means that we're getting another full motion video game. Because oh man.
You get the game, it's Quantum Break, and then small tiny letters under it, Night Trap 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd play Night Trap 2.
Yeah, I probably would too.
The only other big announcements were Telltale, which had two reveals, which is strange. Game of Thrones, which was already kind of an open secret in the industry, and Tales from the Borderlands, which was not an open secret. That was surprising.
Yeah.
Telltale could conceivably have 4 games in the running for Best of 2014. The Wolf Among Us, Walking Dead Season 2, Borderlands, and Game of Thrones should all be released in 2014 in some part. So it's going to be a lot of Telltale. You need to strap in for that.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they're really going for it like this, actually. It's sort of shocking. And I think we're still expecting a King's Quest game from them. Is that right?
I don't remember if that was a project that was... It sounds familiar, but I can't recall.
No, it looks like it got called off. Yeah.
I've heard some people say maybe they're spreading themselves too thin, but I imagine with the success of The Walking Dead, they could have hired a couple more people.
Probably. The question is whether or not those people are up to the snuff of keeping the quality of games that let them get there.
You would think they would have their pick of the industry. Who wouldn't want to work for Telltale right now? They're on fire.
Yeah, I guess so.
It will be. If we actually see a dramatic drop in quality, that would be interesting. It would be saddening, but also interesting to see a company reach too far. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We'll see. I think, it's tough ground for them at this point in time because we've talked in the past about how Telltale manages to be the only company in the entire industry that managed to actually figure out what made episodic content work.
Mm-hmm.
And so even still, I think there's this weird kind of shadow that hangs over them where it's like, any second now, the guillotine of episodic gaming is going to come crashing down on their throat. And it's sort of like, are they going to be okay? Okay, yeah, all right. They look like they're all right now. And yeah, now that they've got, I don't know, I guess 4 games in the pipes if you consider the finishing of Wolf Among Us as being Game 4, even though it must clearly nearly be done at this point in time. Can they do it? Will Telltale Games manage to pull off the greatest year of Telltale Gaming? Tune in about a year. Maybe we'll have something for you by then.
Do you find it at all curious that of the two new projects they announced, they have exceedingly different approaches to, like, established canon? Like, Game of Thrones is up to its fucking tits in, like, shit going on that everyone knows it's really important and it's happening and these things can't be changed. And then Borderlands, which is just, like, a vague setting and art style and anything goes.
I guess. I mean, you know, you're gonna have more fun with one than the other. But yeah, I don't know.
It feels almost like that they consciously took on a project where it's like, here are your limitations, work within them, and here's one where just go nuts.
Well, here's the thing, is that you can still, like, just go nuts within the context of Game of Thrones. You're just not allowed to have that many main characters. You know, like, because The Walking Dead, as a game, right? We're talking about a game that shares a universe, arguably, with a graphic...
anything with zombies.
Well, you know, I'm saying it shares a universe arguably with a comic and a television show, even though, right, the game obviously chases after the graphic novel more than it chases after the television show. Mm-hmm. But, you know, there's not really any character intersection.
No. Do you think that's what we'll do with Game of Thrones?
I think it's the safer thing to do with Game of Thrones. And I think that if you decide to muck around in canon too much, that people are going to take it out on your hide.
Yeah. I am hopeful about that project. I haven't played Jurassic Park. I hear that's bad, but everything I've played besides that of Telltale's is good, so.
What else do we have that was announced? Apparently Elijah Wood's going to be in Broken Age. Titanfall doesn't look that good.
There are 40 Kickstarter updates in my inbox from Broken Age. I will play it when it comes out, but at this point, it's like, they already have my money. They don't have to sell me.
No, but, you know, I mean, they're trying to sell other people. I mean, this is a concern of the Kickstarter, right? Because, like, they've already got all this money. Presumably they're spending it, and then, like, slowly coming to the realization that maybe they don't actually have anybody to sell this game to. Like, that's a depressing thought, but it's a thought that we have to entertain.
Is there a world in which Broken Age isn't good? I can't imagine that.
Oh, no. I'm not even suggesting for a second that Broken Age isn't going to be good. It's going to be awesome. I know it's going to be awesome. But, you know, the question that you have is that you finish making this awesome game, who do you sell it to? Because a large, you know, I'm going to go ahead and estimate that a large portion of the people that you would be selling this game to have already bought it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the danger of Kickstarter, is that once you use up your budget, you've presumably already tapped your core market if you're trying to look for extra funds. But I would assume that it comes out, it's going to get rave reviews, and if people who didn't invest early will hopefully take the jump.
Yeah, people, support our vices.
Justify our poor decisions.
Were there any other announcements? Not really, I don't think.
No.
I like it how you glazed by my Titanfall comment, though.
Titanfall is an interesting thing.
Admit it doesn't look that good.
It looks fine. It looks like something I would play a couple times and then forget about.
Every time I see it, I'm less intrigued by it. Every time. I'm like, oh.
The question for me isn't whether it's going to be good. I think it is going to be good. The question for me is if it's going to be good enough to justify how Microsoft has been using it as a kind of pillar of the Xbox One.
Yeah.
They've been like, look at this exclusive, that isn't exclusive. So good, next gen. And if it comes out and it's just okay, I don't know. You kind of look silly.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about the release of Peggle 2. I guess that's it for news, right?
I guess. We could talk about Konami wants Lab Zero to take down Skullgirls. Did you hear about that?
Only vaguely. Tell me what that's about.
So the company the developer that made Skullgirls, the indie fighting game, They all got fired, and then they reformed under a new company, and they're making like DLC for it. But because of the contractual obligations that exist between the original developer, Autumn Games, and Konami, which were all involved in getting it published, it appears that Konami has the power and the incentive to get it delisted from Xbox Live and the PlayStation Network, and they have requested that happen. So it appears Lab Zero is going to have to republish it or something, which of course costs more money, which they don't have. It's unprecedented.
A dick move?
Yeah, I don't think I can ever recall this happening before. Can you?
No, it doesn't really ring a bell. But it is a dick move.
It certainly sounds like it. I mean, I can understand from like if you're Konami's lawyers, you're like, hey, that's not making us money. Fuck them. Like.
Yeah, but I mean, it is deliberately taking a hobby out of the fucking players' mouths. It's being like, oh, you might want this thing? Sorry, we're not making any money off it, so fuck you. When it's like, it's all set up, it's all there, it's ready to fucking go. Anytime you fucking want it, you can just buy it. But,
I feel bad for the Skullgirls people. Like, they have been kicked around since day one, and they would have quickly sank into obscurity and failure if the game wasn't so fucking good.
Yeah.
It's a really good fighter, although it was rough around the edges when it released.
It's no kick fight.
Oh, dive kick?
Dive kick, sorry. Dive kick.
Dive kick.
Dive kick. It's no dive kick.
Oh, jeez. Actually, hold on. Let me check who won the fighting game category at the VGX. I don't think it was...
Fingers crossed. Fucking dive kick. Give me dive kick.
No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Okay, best fighting game. Oh, sorry. It was Injustice, Gods Among Us.
Well, I guess I can understand that.
I believe if you go back and listen to the episode we recorded when the nominees were released, I said Injustice has the name recognition as Superman and Batman, so it's pretty much a clear winner. And
Spaghetti Man.
If there was a Spaghetti Man, I would fucking main that guy. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like the poor Mike Z and all them over at Skullgirls headquarters be fucked again. Sucks. Terrible.
That's awful. That's fucking... Stop stepping on people, Konami. And also, while you're at it, stop stepping on Silent Hill. Because you keep doing that. And I don't like it.
Actually, that reminds me.
Silent Hill CDs and pet them. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean you.
I think it was Shinji Mikami, the guy who made Resident Evil, their first one. He recently said in an interview that it was really hard to make... It's hard to make horror games these days because people don't scare as easy. And, I mean, he said it, I think, in the context of Resident Evil versus the evil within the game he's making. But I think that applies to Silent Hill, too. Silent Hill as well, I should say.
I would agree with you. I absolutely would agree with you. But the problem is that... the problem that I have with contemporary Silent Hill games is that I feel that their focus has shifted away from unease and general dread, setting the player up to like have a deeper, more thorough frightening experience in lieu of cheap visual imagery.
I thought the last one, Silent Hill Downpour, was a step in the right direction, but still, it was a little...
Late.
Yeah. I don't see why they don't pull like an Amnesia. Just go more minimal, you know?
I don't know, man. I like ever since I played Homecoming, that was like a head shaking. No, what have you done? What did you do? You know, it was like they gave the game to a bunch of guys who watched the movie, which to be fair, I thought was one of the fairer adaptations.
I'm with you there. The bar is low, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that the bar is low. You know, like, the movie adaptation drew way too much on, like, Christian iconography and all these just, like, things that didn't make any sense. And yeah, it was all... it didn't get in your head enough. And that's one of the things about the Silent Hill games that I love, at least 1 through 4. They get in your head. They do. And I'm including 4 in there. Fuck you. I'll fight anybody who says that 4 sucked.
I thought 4 was okay.
I liked what it did with a lot of things. I loved The Room. Like,
No,
I
it's
love
a really good idea. The imagery is strong. I just found some of the gameplay.
Just like, like you're hanging out in your safe place where you're like, oh yeah, this is the place in every survival horror game where I'm okay, where nothing's gonna get me for the rest of the game. Everything's gonna be cool. What's that weird thing on the wall? I don't recognize that. Why is there blood on the floor? Why are you in my house? Run!
Yep. No, those are very effective devices and moments and stuff there. But
and it very specifically played on a player's understanding of what a survival horror game should be, and made it fucking frightening.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I just think Silent Hill needs a major retooling, someone with more restraint and subtlety.
Oh yes, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying, is that, like, you want to talk about subtlety? I'll tell you something that's never been good at subtlety. Resident Evil has never been good at subtlety.
I agree, but I don't think they're necessarily comparable series so much. I mean, they came out around the same time, and they were both titans of their genre, but they never really played similarly.
No, and I completely agree with you, but for Mikami to say that it's really hard to make a horror game these days because people don't scare as easy is a bullshit excuse.
I don't say it's bullshit. There's truth to it. I just don't find it I don't think it justifies not doing your job. It's not like the job is much harder, so now I don't have to try. It's like, well, that's why you need to raise your game.
I'm sorry, but I've always kind of felt that this weird, like, stupid explanation of why horror is awful these days, because people complain about the state of horror movies as well when they talk about, like, torture porn and gore porn and things like that, with your Saws and your Hostels and your don't go down the back road, there's a guy with a chainsaw who's going to kill you too. And I'm just, like, I'm sorry, but they've been making those movies, for years.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been exploitation gore movies.
Yeah.
Was that the splatter genre?
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but just because you can do it better now because of technology and advances in, like, computer generation and makeup and just, general movie making innovation doesn't mean that, like, oh, wow, the gore porn industry is now way more intense than it ever used to be. No. They've always been cheap scares. They've always been poorly written. It's always been about the fake blood. And even when you go and watch one where it's like, some of the best special effects you've ever seen, you're still, like, not even deep down in your psyche, you are consciously aware that you're not watching a snuff film. You know that this is fake. That doesn't mean that it's harder to scare people now. It just means that it's always been hard to scare people well. And you are coming to this realization that some of the cheap tricks that you got away with back in the day, that now everybody is using them, you've discovered that your job is actually really tough. Well, so the fuck what?
I mean, yeah.
Deal with it!
I feel you from a certain perspective, yeah. I mean, you still have to do your job. It may be harder from certain perspectives, but, I mean, tough titty, sort of,
It's not harder to scare people. It's not like we're like less afraid of things nowadays. It's not like, oh, I saw a backdraft. Now I'm not afraid of fire.
I mean, we're less easily impressed by special effects and stuff. Like, I know, you've heard, I don't know if these are like urban legends, but it's like when The Exorcist was in theaters, like someone had a heart attack and like had to be rushed to the hospital or something.
Yeah.
It's like The Exorcist is not a health risk to modern viewers, but it's still scary because it's good, and that's the difference. It's like you're not gonna shock people like, oh, I've never seen this gore before, but I mean, if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. As far as I'm concerned, it's just there's a different kind of novelty to certain acts of depravity in media.
So just dig deep. Find something that you're afraid of, like really deep down, something that you're scared of, something that terrifies you, and find a way to transform that. Gore is not it. Spectacle is not it. People are not afraid of spectacle anymore.
And I think there's a certain amount of selective memory with some of these things. Like the first Saw was not that gory, and it was actually, as far as I remember, a pretty decent like little thriller. And it's like every sequel upped the gore and made it like worse and stupider. And it was just like a follow the leader kind of subgenre flood of people who didn't understand the appeal of the original.
Yeah.
And that's where we get the idea that like torture porn ruined horror, which is it's just, as far as I'm concerned, a complete disconnect of causality and things just happening.
Well, I'm not, I'm not going after Saw particularly as a movie, but you have to admit that every sequel after that, right? And then over and above that, also the proliferation of the genre from people who saw those movies and were like, oh my god, I could totally make one of those myself. Yeah, there's a fundamental misunderstanding about what makes some certain cultural icons stand out. And then when you try and replicate that, because maybe you didn't quite get what made it so special in the first place, what you wind up with is a flawed product that people tend to forget. I mean, just look at all the Jaws clones.
There's like 100 Killer Shark movies that came out right after. And they're still making them. Fuck, there's Sharknado not too long ago. What am I even talking about?
Oh, yeah. But like you ask someone to name like the top 10 scariest shark movies they've ever seen, and the list is going to go like this. Okay, Jaws.
Yeah, but I mean, Jaws didn't ruin horror just because there was a glut of killer shark movies.
No, it didn't. But,
that's what I'm saying. In the same way, torture porn didn't kill horror just because Saw was successful. It's just a pretty simple misunderstanding about the way things happen.
I still wake up in chills and sweats in the middle of the night knowing that Frictional Games is making another game, like, right now as I speak. I just, I fucking just sit bolt right up. Heart beating, just sweat on my brow. Oh my god, don't make me do it again.
Have you ever seen that video? It's I might have to link it. It's a let's play of Amnesia: The Dark Descent. This video is 5 seconds long. It's just someone who it starts goes, "Welcome to the first episode of my let's play of," and like a door opens and the monster starts going. He goes, "Nope," and it just it just immediately ends. It's the funniest thing.
Fantastic. I mean, but that's another thing too, right? Is that like I've speaking on the whole horror game thing. There are like tons of Kickstarter projects now that I've noticed, and particularly games on Steam Greenlight, where their pitch video is let's plays. They find some like little Twitch TV people who stream or something like that and get them to play it. And it's these people, these hand-picked clips with these little face-in shot of them, sitting at the computer with their headphones on, going, as if, I'm yeah, now I really want to play your game, because that guy appears to have a really bad case of Tourette's.
And that's a thing, though. I mean, if you look at the most popular gaming YouTube channels, I'm not going to name any names, but that's the thing that gets you popular, because most of the people who watch Let's Plays are idiots, 13-year-olds and idiots, and they just want to see you overact and scream and shout profanities. And
yeah, not erudite men of learning like us, who do things like play complicated games about the state of agrarian society in Europe.
While talking about eating sand. So, yeah. Actually, last note, as far as the news goes, piggybacking off the thing you just said, there's, I saw some publishers and stuff, some people, PR people talking this morning about Let's Plays in the future and stuff. It seems like some of the bigger publishers are planning to crack down even more on Let's Plays and YouTube gameplay footage. I know Square Enix and Nintendo infamously went about removing monetization from their stuff.
Sega too. I remember Sega went after
Shining Force.
Shining Force, because everybody knows that Shining Force had not yet reached its full potential of market earnability.
Yeah. But it looks like, I mean, that's shitty. Fuck those guys. But the people who are stepping in to fill that void are the ones who are going to be filling their pockets. That's the indies. People like Devolver Digital, who are just fucking badasses. We joke about the shitty Let's Play pitches for Kickstarters, but that is kind of, as far as, at least in the short term, the future of video game PR, unless you're EA or Activision, is getting idiots to record themselves screaming at your game. More people use that kind of stuff to influence their purchasing decision than anything else, it looks like to me.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you come to the table with a quality product, you have nothing to fear from other people broadcasting how good your game is. If you don't believe me, ask the guys at Frictional.
Yeah. Also, I mean, just you have to be in front of this technological train. Just look at the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Both support sharing in the hardware. There's a share button on the PS4.
Yeah.
If you're trying to live in the 90s, you're going to get left behind.
Hell, I don't know if you like what graphics card that you're packing in your PC, Austin, but NVIDIA's new drivers, the NVIDIA Experience, has like capture card technology wrapped right into the drivers. You can just flip it on. And they have two. There's like active recording, where it will record whatever it is that you want, and then they have a shadow recording mode that basically buffers like the last 5 minutes of gameplay. So if you're playing and you're just sort of like, you're not really recording for the sake of like streaming or anything like that, or putting something up on YouTube, but you just want to like, you know, have something in case something funny happens, it's there. And you can like hit a button. Boom. Like your last 5 minutes are recorded.
And that is, as far as I can tell, like the future of promotion. That's how things are going to get big in the future. It's not going to be from, press releases. That's just not the way kids get their coolness anymore.
Which is a shame, because most press releases are so cool.
But I mean, I don't know, was this your generation or not, but like when kids, like middle school kids, come together and just talk about like all the cool shit that happened in Grand Theft Auto 3 last night, like that was a thing. Like we're like, oh man, I hit this ramp and then I was shooting, like now you can just share that shit.
Yeah.
And that's how people, like, that's the social aspect of video games. So if you're trying to get all your footage taken down, you just might as well just be stabbing yourself in the groin repeatedly.
Yeah, pretty much.
So weird, so dumb.
On that note, Austin, if you were going to record any footage of you playing a video game this week, what video games would those be?
I put up a review for Rainbow Moon. That's on the site. Read it if you want. I don't care. It's okay. Whatever. What else? I am playing Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. It's a shame Taylor isn't here.
It's not really a surprise. You did say it earlier.
I did say it earlier.
Yeah, I was listening.
It feels like any praise I could give it is overshadowed by what things that Taylor has already said on the site. He gave it his best game on the PlayStation 3 thing in his video. He wrote about it for our 25 and 25. It's beautiful. The art direction, the music, just this huge fucking world map. I didn't even know they made games like this anymore.
And it gives you an excuse to say the word Ghibli.
Yeah, it does. It's I was actually reading, because it comes the one I got, like the Wizards edition. It came with this huge, like 400-page, like hardbound book.
Are you a wizard?
You're not even listening. And it has like all kinds.
You said Wizards edition.
It had all kinds of interviews with the staff and stuff. And so Level 5, the people who make Professor Layton, they envisioned Ni no Kuni as like their 10th anniversary like celebration project. And so they started making it, and they're like, you know what would be cool? If Studio Ghibli did all our cutscenes. That would be cool. It's like, that's like some ridiculous shit you say to your friend, like at the water cooler, like never thinking it would happen, and then it just did. Like, it's amazing, and the game is, like...
I have to admit that even though, like, I consider myself nowadays at least to be only tangentially interested in anime, because the whole industry's exploded like way wider than it ever was when I was into it. I have to admit too that if it was like if I was working on a video game and like some guy ran in and was like, Johnny, I was like, yeah. He's like, remember when we were talking about Studio Ghibli? I'm like, Ghibli, yeah. Then he'd be like, they're gonna do it. I would have to change my underpants that day.
It looks like it was worth the money. I really like it. I think chapter 5 of 7 in the walkthrough in the guidebook it comes with. So I'm nearing the final stretch, I think. It's great. It basically plays like Pokemon if it was made by Studio Ghibli.
Oh, all right. Okay.
It's gorgeous, and the voice acting is hilarious because Namco was too fucking cheap to dub it into American English, so they just left the European English track in there and just called it a day. So everyone's like fucking talking like Yusuf. It's amazing.
I love Yusuf's talk.
Yusuf talks pretty good. Drippy is like, he has a regional dialect accent. I don't want to embarrass myself and pretend like I know what it is, but it's different than the other British acting, and it's adorable.
Is he Northern, Southern, Celtic, Irish maybe? Are you able to discern Scottish, Irish, and English?
I don't want to say whether or not I can.
Okay, we'll say maybe then. Maybe.
I don't want to embarrass myself.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
But
I'll have to find me some video footage of Drippy speaking, and then I'll see if I can nail it down for you.
All right. When Taylor wrote about it, actually, he and I were both surprised that there was some negative backlash. A lot of people said that they were disappointed in it. So I want to address some of the negativity if I can, because it's not.
Let's do that.
It's not perfect. As far as I'm concerned,
what?
the story.
1 out of 10.
The story is like super simple. The characters are all really like one note, and I understand why that could be upsetting. I was reading like the interviews and stuff that come in this book I was talking about, and they set out to make something for children. It's like a game you're supposed to play with your kids, and that's why I think a lot of it's so simple. And the game is pretty easy as well.
I am just going to go ahead and break some serious knees here and just be like, you know what? If you're going to have Studio Ghibli, I can see that. Because I haven't ever particularly seen their movies as being very sophisticated.
They have like the Disney charm where they're like simple and accessible and stuff, but there's like a level of depth if you look for it. It's not like super in your face. But like here's like, if you look at the comments on his 25, people said, you know, the story, the characters, like I said, very simple. I'm looking at here, uninteresting characters, forced and frequent backtracking, an obscene encounter rate. Like none of those are wrong criticisms, but none of that stuff really bothered me. It's just kind of a simple, almost like retro RPG in the sense it's like big world map. Like you can just kind of walk around and get lost, finding little caves and little forests and stuff. And it's like there's a lot of combat. It's kind of like Dragon Quest-y almost. In some aspects. The villain isn't very interesting. There is backtracking. A lot of the quests are like take like there's the big mechanic is like you can take emotions from one person and give it to another person. Like if someone's like super confident, you take that confidence and then give it to someone who has like confidence issues, and then you'll help them. And since they'll be in different cities, you often have to be going from like city to city, back and forth.
Okay, now when you take these emotions, do they like come out of this person entirely, or do you like clone them?
It manifests as like a ball of energy that like comes out of them, and you can put it in your little. You have like a little emotion flask. You put it in, and then you go to the other person, and then you put it in them.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if your super confident person is super confident, and then you take that confidence, is he still super confident, or he's like, I feel horrible about myself now?
No, you can only take it from people who have extra.
There we go.
So, yeah, that makes them... It appears that it doesn't really affect the people you take it from. Okay. Or if anything, it helps them be more realistic about shit.
No, that's fine. That's just... I'm just wondering how child-friendly this, This guy's got a strong will to live. I'm going to take it and give it to this other person.
Speaking of child friendliness, one of the interesting thing was like I kind of knew the intro scene where it was going like immediately. I don't want to spoil it, I guess, because I don't know who considers what to be spoilers. But have you ever seen the movie Up, the Pixar film Up?
Actually, that is like the one Pixar film I haven't seen, except for maybe 2 others.
Oh, Johnny, you fool. The opening scene of Up is one of the most heartbreaking sequences in film. Like, that sounds like hyperbole, but it's not.
I just haven't gotten to it yet. That's
But
all. It's on my list.
The comparison I'm trying to make here is...
Don't hurt me.
In a short amount of time, you can establish some very serious, very emotional stuff. And they try that in the beginning of Ni no Kuni, and I don't think they pull it off. Not for the lack of trying, and it's not a super huge blow against the game, but like having seen Up, it's like any other animated film thing that's going to come at me and like open with the feels. Like that bar is stratospheric as far as I'm concerned. And I can see why people are disappointed with Ni no Kuni.
Tropospheric, even?
the ionospheric. Is it the highest one?
I'm not sure.
I can understand. If you go into Ni no Kuni for the writing, you will probably be disappointed because it's a pretty simple little child's fable. As far as I'm concerned, it's an artistic achievement. It's a gorgeous, beautiful little game with some depth, but it's pretty simple to just get through if you want to. And I think it's something that's made to be played with your kids, to get them maybe into RPGs. Just share it with them. It's a cool, fun little thing. I haven't finished it. If the ending is as bad as everyone's saying, maybe I'll throw some more caveats in there, but I like it. Maybe not as much as Taylor.
It looks like the exosphere is the highest.
Oh, Johnny.
And I'm sad because the troposphere is the lowest.
Haha. Ionosphere is better. I win. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I wanted to say about Ni no Kuni right now? Because, I mean, the development history is really interesting. It was made as a DS game in Japan. It's kind of like as a DRM feature, is like it comes with a book. And so to cast spells, you have to draw the little like sigils on the bottom DS screen that are in the book. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
when they made the PS3 version, which I guess was started after the DS one had been started development, they were made like relatively like at the same time, but there was like a gap between when they started. They were like, how do we do this book thing in the PS3 version because there's no bottom screen? So it's available in the game, the book itself, because it's a plot. It's not just that. Like the character Oliver carries the book around. Like it's a really integral part of the game.
Yeah. As
like a plot device and as like a mechanical thing. So the only way you could get it on the PS3 version physically is I guess if you pre-ordered it from Namco, and that's the one I did. But there was like a shortage and like they canceled a bunch of orders. It's like a whole huge thing. I don't remember if you remember this, but Namco like seriously fucked it up.
Yeah, I do remember there were some problems.
And that's such a shame because if you're going to play Ni no Kuni, you really should play it with the book. Because it's fucking amazing. It's so detailed and like so gorgeous. There's like all this like concept art and all these like charts for all the stats for all the familiars, aka the Pokemon that are in the game. It's like I can't imagine playing it without it, not because I need it, but because I love it. I just love the book. It's so cool. Also, there's like all the recipes for all the alchemy and stuff. It's such a neat little game. It has a lot of effort clearly went into it, and I totally dig it.
Yeah.
But you can see why it won RPG of the Year at the VGX.
Yeah. No, okay. That's understandable.
I'm a little disappointed it wasn't Fire Emblem, but not heartbroken because this wasn't a bad choice. Also this week I played New Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, isn't that on some system? There's a system that's on. It's like one that used to exist, but they added an extra letter.
It's New Super Mario Brothers is for the DS.
Not the 3DS?
That's New Super Mario Brothers 2.
Oh, wow.
And then there's New Super Mario Brothers Wii and New Super Mario Brothers U, which are, of course, for the Famicom and the 3DO, respectively.
Right. Of course. Absolutely. Because why wouldn't you have New Super Mario Brothers for the 3DO? When's the Jaguar one coming out?
Tuesday.
Awesome.
The reason I played it is because everyone's always saying that the New Super Mario Brothers games are all the same, and that Nintendo's like getting really lazy with the series. And I know we had Leon here before talk about he played the Wii U one. So I had the original New Super Mario Brothers, which is a weird thing to say, the original new. But the DS one, when they brought back the 2D side-scrolling Mario, and I wanted to see if there was really as little progression as everyone was saying, because I've always been of the opinion that every Nintendo console, whether handheld or home living room based, should have a 2D Mario. And they don't need to be revolutionary reinventions of the formula. You just need a standard 2D Mario whenever you pick up a piece of Nintendo hardware. That should just be part of the package. And so I wanted to see if they were really as static as everyone keeps saying. And New Super Mario Bros. For the DS is not as good as I remember. It's not a bad looking or playing game, but like compared to New Super Mario Bros. U, it may as well be giving me eye cancer. Like I think people are severely understating how much better looking the new games are. Have you seen New Super Mario Bros. U next to New Super Mario Bros.?
I have not, no.
It's not even a little close. And you can say, like, oh, the visuals don't matter that much, but when you see New Super Mario Bros. U on an HD TV, it's fucking gorgeous.
Okay, hang on. I'm looking up some comparison. Oh. Yeah, I'm looking at one right now that's actually got comparisons between them all.
I mean, like I said, the old ones aren't bad, but the new ones are just, they are not lazy. These are like lovingly crafted and updated games that Nintendo's making. So I don't want to hear that there's no effort going into them.
No, I remember when Super Mario Galaxy came out, and like it was like a few months, I think, after most everybody had kind of like finished playing it. A lot of my friends that played Nintendo games were sort of like, now what? You know, like it seemed as though they had pushed Mario as far as Mario would go.
Mm-hmm.
But at no point in time did the presence of Galaxy ever diminish any love for the old school Mario games. Like it didn't affect them at all. There was no.
That's the thing, like, all of these games are technically Mario, but, like, my enjoyment of Mario Party or Mario Tennis or Mario 3D or 2D, they don't cross over, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they may as well be separate entities entirely. They just so happen to feature the same blank slate character. But they're all just really self-contained exercises in game making.
Pretty much, yeah. And anybody complaining about, I don't know, I guess consistency in Mario games has obviously not played more than, say, 2 of them. I mean, okay, all right, consistency in quality certainly, because they're always good. That's fair. Like I'm not sure I've ever personally played, and although I haven't played as many Mario games as anybody else, you know, particularly nowadays because of how much I don't want to say avoid, but how much I'm not exposed to consoles. The quality has always been there for me, but like even as far back as the first 3 Mario games, you know, when I say the first 3, I mean Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 2, and Super Mario Brothers 3.
not Donkey Kong.
Not Donkey Kong and not Mario Brothers.
For the arcade.
But
yeah, I know.
But those first 3 titles, despite the fact, like, the only thing that each one of them really had that was similar was that you were moving to the right.
Yeah.
And the characters were the same-ish.
I mean, Doki Doki Panic and all that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, you know, hearing people complain about Mario games these days kind of affects me in a strange way, because all at once I'm like, what's wrong with you? You don't like Mario? But then at the same time, I'm like, I don't really feel like I need to play New Super Mario Brothers, because...
Yeah, I think the average, like, if you're a gamer, hobbyist kind of person, right? I know you don't like that term, but if you're a person who plays games regularly as a hobby, I don't think that you're going to be missing anything if you skip out on the New Super Mario Brothers series. It's not a vital experience. It's not pushing boundaries. It's not innovating, and that's fine. It doesn't need to be.
It can just be good, though.
It's the rock of Nintendo. It's the thing you can always count on to come back to. It's just going to be there. I don't think that is any kind of...
It's their Crash Bandicoot. No, okay, that's not right. It's their Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, that's definitely not going to work.
Oh, man.
It's their Zool, is what I'm trying to say.
I wouldn't change it if I were to... Did you read that article? It was fucking Michael Pachter saying that Iwata should be fired from Nintendo.
Michael Pachter can shut his fucking mouth.
Listen, I've talked about... I think we talked about this 2 weeks ago, about Nintendo. Oh no, Nintendo is doomed again. First of all, fuck you. We've had this conversation. Second of all, if or when Iwata leaves, then we can start worrying about Nintendo's future.
Yeah.
That... He knows what he's doing. And if you think you know better than him, you're living in some kind of strange fantasy world where Nintendo hasn't posted positive gains for like 19 years straight or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, they've made money consistently for so long and with so much quality without stooping to all kinds of disgusting business tactics. I just don't want to hear any of that shit. I'm done.
No, I mean, last week Yusuf and I, talked about Jason Rubin talking about Nintendo. And I tried to play devil's advocate a little bit, because I do sort of agree with him in one way, of where I feel that, like, the way that when Nintendo brings a console out, they're not necessarily making a bold step forward so much as they are kind of making a bold step sideways in a direction that not a lot of other people are doing. And I'm cool with that. That's fine.
I think that might actually be the smart maneuver, because you can't be the technical cutting edge. That's PC.
Yeah, I mean, it's like every game trying to chase being Call of Duty. You can't do it while Call of Duty is still around. You just can't.
Yeah, Nintendo isn't chasing everyone else. They're just doing the thing that works and is good. And I don't think we should discourage that.
Absolutely not.
I think New Super Mario Brothers is like a perfect encapsulation of Nintendo. It doesn't take too many chances, and I understand why that makes it less interesting in some ways. It's not going to blow your mind. It's not going to throw you any curveballs. But it'll be there for you at the end of the day. When you get home after a long day's work, it'll be sitting there waiting for you, and you'll be able to rely on it.
Yeah, no gritty reboots for Mario, thank you.
Not that I wouldn't like to see something ballsy, like, what they did with the Wind Waker, just shifting art style radically. That would be cool. But I don't think it's what they're going to do with Mario. That feels like something they're going to do with Kirby or Wario,
Yeah.
Like a B-lister. That's where they'll take the risks, and that's fine.
Yep, I'm cool with that.
So that's another thing I played. Finally, I believe the last thing I played, I have to finally bite this bullet, Jak 3.
Austin?
Yeah?
Before we talk about Jak 3, why don't you tell me a little bit about your mother?
Oh, God. Well, she abandoned me when I was 12, I think. Do you really want to go down this road?
Not especially. I mean, I'm curious to know your history, absolutely. I just want to be able to gauge your psychological reactions here. So I was going to do a quick, short profile, but that's okay if you want to jump right into it. Just answer me these 3 questions, okay?
These riddles 3?
No, just 3 questions. What's your favorite color?
Heliotrope.
At what point in time do you find that room temperature has dipped too cold?
Celsius? Because I don't do Celsius.
No,
Fahrenheit.
You can do Fahrenheit. We can do the corrections over here.
Too cold stops at like 80.
Okay, all right. And lastly, what fabric do you find most pleasing when brushed against your skin softly?
I don't know any fabric types except for like cotton and leather. I don't know. What else is... I'm not a fucking material person.
Cashmere, wool, like, cotton poly blend, like a fully polyester maybe, polyester fibers.
Mink.
All right, mink will do. I'll take mink. Okay, now tell me, how did Jak 3 make you feel?
Okay, it's not bad. If you didn't listen to the episode where I went ape shit on Jak 2, none of this is gonna make sense. because I said in that episode that it was the worst game experience I've had since joining BT some 3 years ago. Jak 2 was terrible in every possible way as far as playing it goes. Technically, it was whatever. It was okay for the time. But just playing it was hellish. Jak 3 is an upgrade in just about every way possible. The camera's a little bit better. The controls are a little bit better. The writing's a little bit better. The visuals are a little bit better. The
voice acting is palatable?
A little bit better. It's not palatable yet, but it's a little bit better. It's a slight bump to every category, and it basically achieves tolerability, playability. One of the things that made it actually kind of fun at some points was the fact that you actually get a bunch of weapons this time. In the last game, it went from... the first one was a collect-a-thon platformer. The second one was a third-person shooter where you only had 4 guns. It was the basically shotgun, machine gun, homing missile, and rifle. But in this one, in the third one, you have 12 weapons. And they have all kinds of cool, crazy effects. There's a homing thing. There's one where you shoot out a little disc that shoots in a circular pattern. There's a laser cannon thing. There's a bunch of cool different weapons. It feels more like the Ratchet and Clank ripoff that they were aiming for last time. It's a lot of those things. It's also a better open world game. They tried to ape GTA 3 the last time. It's they're more successful this time. There's more vehicle variety. There's just more good stuff about it. It's still not terribly interesting. I don't like the art style still. I still don't like the universe, the lore, the characters, or the story. I don't care about any of the people. But I played it and I didn't hate myself, which is a big step up.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I don't know how much more I have to say about it, because it's basically everything I said last week, just not as harsh. Or I guess 2 weeks ago, I wasn't here last week. It's just the mediocre, aimless game they tried to make, but now they did it. So
good for them. I guess.
Did you know before Naughty Dog started The Last of Us, they were thinking about rebooting Jak and Daxter?
Really?
Yeah, there's all kinds of concept art and design documents and stuff that they let some people see after the release of The Last of Us. We're this is what we're working on before we decided to do mushroom zombies.
Well, I'd like to think that if they had decided to do that, they would do it well.
I mean, they've certainly learned how to make better games since then.
Yeah, so...
But I think the reason they didn't, I just don't think the property has any traction as far as, ideas go. It just doesn't seem like a very interesting world.
I don't even know anything about it. That's the thing. I got no idea.
There really isn't anything to say about it. It's the first one is just Banjo-Kazooie. The second one is just, cartoon Blade Runner. And the third one's, cartoon Mad Max.
Yeah, I mean, when you say Jak and Daxter, the first reaction in my brain is, okay, not Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, basically. And they're still, Ratchet and Clank's still going strong.
That should say something.
I think it does. I think Ratchet and Clank, besides one or two missteps in spin-off side games, not counting those, every Ratchet and Clank's been solid.
Yeah.
For a decade. I love that series, so I'd much rather have that continuing than Jak and Daxter. Some people in the comments when I shit on Jak 2 disagreed, but no one really gave me too much reason why. They just kind of said they liked it, and that's fine.
Well,
we can all disagree.
We did preface that. We were hey, you can say you like a game as much as you want. That's not a problem. You can be I liked it. Just nobody gets bent out of shape about it, please. Unless somebody's actually made an egregious insult to your family's history.
I wouldn't mind having some discussion about it. There are things I like about Jak 3 that I thought it did much better, the having the light and dark powers. I thought that was cool. There's just more stuff to play with. You have a lot of abilities and options. In 2 you just didn't, and it was just I just had fucking nom flashbacks of walking into rooms. There's 100 enemies, and since you can't aim, you basically just gotta just jump around in circles while shooting and just hope it shoots the right dudes. Where it's in 3, it's I had several weapons that were fucking homing. Just open up that shit. It's great. I'm still not a fan of the not being able to aim, but when you have weapons that actually hit the right people, that's helpful.
Right on, brother.
I think that's all I played, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel stupid if I put up another review and I can't remember that I even played it. What about you, Johnny? Did you play anything more interesting than Jak 3?
Probably.
Did you play Pokemon?
What?
Did you play Pokemon?
Maybe.
Johnny? Did you pick Squirtle?
Yeah.
You Squirtled?
I squirtled so hard.
Squirtle Squad. You've never seen the Pokemon anime, have you?
No, I have not. So...
There's an episode where there's a gang of roving Squirtles, and they're called the Squirtle Squad.
Okay. Although now he's a war turtle.
Nice.
So he's not a Squirtle anymore. He's a war turtle.
You didn't give him a nickname?
Oh yeah, I did. Steven.
Like, is that named after anyone in particular,
no,
or just
no,
he just looked?
Not especially.
He just looked like a Steven.
He looked like a Steven. I'm gonna quickly flip on my my GBA SP, and I'm gonna tell you because I can't remember. I know all their names, but I can't remember what kind they are. I've only played about 5 hours of it or something like that. I'm playing Fire Red.
Awesome.
Is what I'm playing. But yeah, like I can only remember that I've got Steven, Colin, Nigel.
Why are they all so British?
It's not that they're all British. I mean, it's just like I've just named them. Okay, all right. So currently, I've got Audrey. Audrey is a Beedrill. Is
it a female Beedrill?
It's a female Beedrill.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got Peter, who is a Pikachu. I've got Nigel, who is a Spearow. I've got Colin, who is a what is it? A Pidgey?
Yeah.
Yeah, a Pidgey. I've got Steven, a Wartortle, and then I've got Derek, who is a Rattata.
Rattata?
Yeah.
I want to see fan art of Johnny's Pokemon team.
Well, I have more too. I mean, I've captured, I think,
them all?
No. Oh God, no. I only just earned my first badge not that long ago. The Boulder badge I earned. So give me a second here. I've just accessed someone's PC.
Oh, you'll find out who.
All right, and I've got Andrew the Weedle.
They're all so normal.
Marlene the Metapod. Dolores the Caterpie.
Caterpie,
sorry. Fred the male Nidoran.
Yeah.
Barbara the female Nidoran. Bradley the Mankey.
Uh-huh.
Clive the Zubat.
Oh, Clive.
Diane the Paris. And Belle the Magikarp.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so those are all the Pokemon that I so far have caught, which I think is very close to nowhere near all of them.
Did you buy that Magikarp?
Oh God, no.
Okay, because there's a guy at Mount Moon who sells Magikarp. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't buy that guy's Magikarp.
Don't you worry. Or did I? No, I did. Sorry, I did buy that Magikarp.
Johnny, you were the best.
Yeah, bought that. So I didn't know when you said Magikarp. I'm like, which one was that?
Oh, jeez. Are you liking it so far?
You know what? I am.
Good.
I mean, it's like, don't get me wrong or anything like that. It's not the second coming. I mentioned to you, I think it was after we exchanged the podcast for editing the other week, that there was another guy at my work who was like super excited for me to be playing Pokemon for the first time. And I basically on Saturday for much of the day, because it was cold. I basically was swaddled in blankets in bed, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna play Pokemon all day. And I didn't really play it all day. I played it until the battery on my GBA SP went out, and yeah, like it's oddly addicting.
It's good stuff.
It is oddly addicting. Although, like, I gotta say, there are some things about the world that kind of bother me.
Oh God, you could fill an encyclopedia with all of the little weird shit about the Pokemon universe.
It's not even just that it's like weird shit, It's just sort of like I'm kind of I feel a little alarmed about how Pokemon centric their economy is.
Oh, I have to send you. There's a recent webcomic that says something like that. Let me just send it to you before if I have to describe it, I'll sound like an idiot.
I'm also a little bit alarmed by how much people like shorts.
They are comfy and easy to wear.
Apparently so. I don't
Okay.
really find them that comfy or easy to wear.
I just sent you a link to a recent webcomic that it's pretty much what you just said about how Pokemon-centric everything is.
All right. Yeah, that's more or less it. Like every television you see is like, oh my God, look, it's a Pokemon. He appears to be having fun. And everybody you speak to has something to say about Pokemon. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm just sort of thinking to myself, how would the technology for this come to exist?
There's a surprising amount of thought put into certain aspects of it. Like, you can go to a power plant and there's like electric Pokemon, like, generating the power for the country and stuff.
I get this. I get this just fine. But I'm trying to imagine a society in which humans exist and Pokemon exist. Not necessarily in harmony, just like in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
And then people are like, hey, those little animals are pretty crazy. Maybe we should capture them.
I have actually said that before. They should do a game set before the invention of Pokeballs, where it's all just like beating them with sticks and then getting collars on them.
It's kind of alarming, like in this sense that it's just like, okay, you throw this Pokeball at it, congratulations, it's yours now, and it loves you, even though it was trying to kill you before.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of leads me to my next question. I'm a little bit alarmed about the actual Pokemon themselves.
Are you?
Well, I mean, these things exist in the wild, right? So presumably they have some kind of agency, necessity for food, like...
Yep.
And you're all just like, hey, get in this tiny ball.
Yeah, the morals of the entire situation has been analyzed for the last... I'm trying to think how long it's been. 15 years?
Not even then. But then, like, afterwards, you have them in this little tiny ball. And sure, you take care of them by taking them to this super high-tech Pokemon Center that...
Which is socialist, because they don't make you pay.
That manages to operate the whole thing without even, like... I mean, do people have jobs or pay taxes? Because, I mean, it would be socialist if you paid jobs or if you had jobs and paid taxes, and then the taxes went to these Pokemon centers. But as far as I can tell, the government isn't taking any money off my Pokemon winnings. But then, so you take care of these, and these little animals exist in perpetuity in these balls until a fight starts. And then you're just like, go to it, Andrew.
Yeah, it's pretty weird when you think about it like that, but...
And now, even further than that, I'm kind of curious, because I don't know if this ever happens during the course of Pokemon. Does anybody ever, like, drop the gloves and go full-on, I'm going to punch you out, screw this Pokemon thing?
No, that's a running joke, because, like, there's always bad guys, like Team Rocket in the original.
Yeah.
And if they, they're robbing a place, they send out their Pokemon. If their Pokemon get beat, they just leave. They don't pull out guns.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Because that's, like, that I'm sort of like... Because that Rattata there...
That Rattata?
That Rattata, I would step on you.
Johnny somehow gets warped to the Pokemon world. He's just running around throwing haymakers at Pokemon.
I mean, sure.
Just sucker punch a Bulbasaur.
Poof! I am the Pokemon King. What Pokemon do you master? What?
Gonna cunt punt a Pikachu.
I mean, there are some pretty solid mechanics. The writing is goofy as all that.
Oh yeah. it's not a story heavy RPG.
No, obviously not. Considering that, like, I didn't, like when the game started, I was just like, what now what?
Yeah.
Because
so I've always said that
you to Professor Oak's house, and so like, oh yeah, Professor Oak wanted to see you. I'm like, okay, where's Professor Oak? And he's nowhere in town. So then you go to leave the town. He's like, wait, don't go. You're like, I was fucking looking for you.
Where are you hiding, asshole?
What the fuck is going on? And then he decides to give Pokemon to both me and my rival, myself, I believe, who I named my character Cockass. and then my rival, whose name is Assbutt.
That's so fucking classic. Everyone gives their people like ridiculous foul names.
I didn't know what to expect, so I wanted something that I could rely on for a giggle. And then you like go to the next town, and then some dude is like, "Oh great, here's a package. Go take it to Professor Oak down there." I'm like, "Don't you have a mail service?" Then obviously they don't have a mail service because their entire fucking economy is Pokemon based.
Yep.
So then I take it back to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, here, take this thing." And I'm like, "What is this thing?" He's like, "The Pokedex. Every time you capture a Pokemon, it will put the info into the Pokedex." And I'm like, "And why do I want to do that?"
Can't just help a brother out?
And then that's the thing. He didn't really he gave one to Assbutt as well. And I'm like, Assbutt can go do it. That's like, and then he's just like, "Oh, go do your thing." And I'm like, "That's it? You want me to roam the countryside capturing innocent animals because you want to know more about them? And you've been studying these creatures your whole life? This is as far as you've gotten."
It's adorable watching you make all of these observations. It's like someone who just, discovered fire for the first time, and it's like, it's so hot. Why is it so hot?
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to figure out here. This guy's been studying Pokemon for his entire life. What the fuck has he been doing?
No one knows. I've always said that the single-player campaigns for Pokemon are tutorials for the, esports multiplayer. It's a competitive game. That's meant to be played against others as a competition.
As a dick measuring competition?
Speaking of dick measuring, I recently fucking ruined Robert. If anyone reads the site, Robert G writes a series of articles called Pokemon 101 where he explains all of the mechanics and stuff on it. And so I battled him before, and he never beat me. No one on BT's ever beat me. I challenged him to a match recently. Not only did he not beat me, but he didn't land a single hit in any of our battles, and then he ended up rage quitting twice in a row because he just could not touch me. I guess at this point I was just say I don't want to brag, but I'm fucking bragging, man. I am just rocking the shit out of X and Y. It is none of my friends will play with me anymore. It's like I'm just too dominant. It's great.
Well, you're never gonna get me, Austin.
Because you don't have X and Y, so you're not compatible.
No, there is that. Although I do have a 3DS here.
I'll go easy on you, Johnny.
I'm just saying. My buddy Julian that lent me this thing was like, "Hey, my old 3DS is in there." I'm like, "Your old 3DS? You have a new 3DS?" He's like, "Yep." So he got that, and he gave me Soul Silver in it too. So I don't know if I feel the wherewithal after my encounter with Fire Red, which I think is probably going to be a bit, speaking as a 33-year-old man with no ties to Pokemon. I'd have to ask myself the question genuinely whether or not I'm gonna finish this game.
You don't want to. You have to be the best, like no one ever was.
I don't think I'm ever going to be because my level of dedication comes just short of interested.
It's not a very long game.
Nah, I mean I'll probably finish Fire Red. I just don't know whether or not can you tell me? Did they make jumps and strides in Pokemon after Fire Red?
Between like the versions, if they get there's the new Pokemon that they add to the games, and there's refinements of the mechanics. I don't know if there would be things that you would notice, but they're important to me. The new games added a fairy type, is that a big deal to you? It is to me.
I can't.
But
no.
Okay. Well, it's a matter of perspective there, because as far as each version, each new generation of Pokemon is similar
what does that
in structure.
Mean, generation?
Generations of games. There's like Red and Blue.
All right.
Is the first gen.
Yep.
And then there's Gold and Silver.
Okay.
Ruby and Sapphire.
Nope.
Diamond and Pearl.
Yep.
Black and White.
Okay.
X and Y.
Where the fuck is Soul Silver then?
Soul Silver is a remake of Silver, which is from Generation 2.
Oh, okay.
People fit the remakes and also I don't know what you want to call them, the updated ones into the other generations, but that's just, I'm trying to give you the simplified version, because there are other games like Yellow, but you don't need to know about that. It's complicated enough.
Apparently.
But like each generation adds new Pokemon and new mechanics and stuff, but I don't think the casual person would find it to be so different that it would change your opinion on the core experience.
No, the thing is that I find it a pleasant enough experience, and like I said, oddly addictive when I'm sitting down and playing it. But then I put it down at the end of the day, and I haven't really thought about it since then. I was just kind of like, I put it there, and I was like, because the things that had me playing and enjoying the game were very much like instant and immediate stimulus and gratification. I wasn't really invested in the world. I wasn't really invested in the characters, but it was like, you wander through an area and you see a new Pokemon. You're like, fuck, I need that. And then, one of them transforms, one of them evolves. And you're like, shit, I want to see what this motherfucker can do now, And that was all really great when I was sitting there clasping my GBA. But the moment I put it down, I was distracted by other things. There were other things that required my attention. I wanted to play other things. So I don't know. I can see how particularly kids in a social situation, like kids in school and things like that, would be drawn in by it. Because absolutely, you're right. There's a social aspect to the game where you want to make sure that you have a robust team and that they're all leveled appropriately, and you've got the right layout. But for myself, I'm not sure there's much in there. Like there's not much draw, because I don't have friends that
I was waiting for you to end that sentence. You're like, I don't have friends.
I don't have friends.
Oh.
But the people that I would call close enough to my friends, not many of them ever play Pokemon, I think.
Well, one of the great additions to the newer games is the online community, because in the old days you had to find someone with like a GBA link cable, to hook that stuff up to play.
I got those.
Nowadays, you can just click, I can battle someone in South Korea in, the touch of a button. There's an entire...
So are you suggesting that I just try my luck at online Pokemon?
No, I'm just saying that...
with all 5 hours of experience under my belt?
No, Johnny. My point is that there was a time where even if you could see the draw of it, where you'd be like, well, I don't have anyone to play with, so it's not really for me.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's not really an excuse if you legitimately want to get into it. I'm not applying it to you. I'm just saying if you're like, oh, Pokemon looks cool, but I don't have any friends who play. It's like now you have 7 million friends who play all over the world.
True.
So that's cool. That's one of the things I would say. Like you wouldn't notice if you played X and Y that it had all these new online features right away. Like that wouldn't jump out at you. But someone who's been playing since the beginning would be like, whoa, this is pretty groundbreaking comparatively.
Yeah.
So
although
stuff like that.
I'm not really sure that I should just throw my hat into the ring and be like, yeah, I played Fire Red for 5 hours. Let's go.
That would be pretty funny. But I'm actually, this is like the best case scenario. I imagine that you play it and you'd be like, I could see how that's cool, but I'm a little old for this. It's a little simple, and I think I'll be.
I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I absolutely get it. Like there is a really great, like the fact that you have like a whole stable of characters, like Pokemon, I guess, right, instead of characters, but you have a whole stable of characters that you can specifically kind of manage to suit your play style. It is like the most complicated game of rock, paper, scissors ever.
It really is, yeah. Actually, I've noticed that. I was thinking about this when I was playing Ni no Kuni. That is my favorite genre. like stable management. When I think about all of my favorite games, I think Fire Emblem, right? That stable of soldiers in your army. It's like Gran Turismo. It's, cars in your garage. It's Shin Megami Tensei, Persona. Demons in your soul. Like, all of my favorite games are about managing a handful of, like, things to form a team of things to use in the thing competition. Like, that's like my very specific jam. And I've only kind of, like, just recognized how many different forms it can take.
See, like, if I was to pick a specific jam, if I was to pick a specific jam for me, it would have to be, like, games that require intensive labor. Like, I mean, I know that sounds weird, like, games that require heavy lifting, but I mean, like, I've talked to you about how much I love the Stalker games.
Mm-hmm. And The Witcher.
The Witcher games. Arma.
So Eastern European things that hate you.
Well, no. I mean, like, there's an amount of effort that these games require from me as the player to, like, fully engage and figure out. Like, like the Witcher games, which are probably my favorite. They require research, like, attention, but then there's, like, a deep lore that requires your like, things that draw attention from you. Something that sucks me in completely.
It's something that could be easily seen as a barrier to entry, but it's like what you put in is multiplied when you get it back out at the end of the day.
And I mean that would manage or that would match too, pardon me, with, like, games that I consider to be, like, my historical, like, what I grew up on gaming, because, like, I played a lot of adventure games when I was young, and there's a weird arcane logic to adventure games, particularly the old ones.
Oh yeah, I mean you had to live some of those early games, like know them like pixel by pixel to get anywhere.
Yeah. I mean,
those become part of you.
Throw pie at the abominable snowman's face.
Put gem in mouth.
Oh yeah, put gem in mouth. That was a classic. That's a good one. But yeah. These games too, they spoke a weird kind of language that now, like, when I see, because, we have a number of gamers that go back and, like, they're like, yeah, like, old adventure games. What the fuck? And I look at them and I'm like, well, of course, because that's actually really badly designed, isn't it? But somehow over the years, I've managed to justify to myself that put gem in mouth it made sense.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. I've tried going back and playing some old school jams, and it's like, oh Jesus, how did I ever even slightly put up with this?
To this day, I'm still kind of impressed that I ever managed to finish Star Control 2. And that's like an old school one. People will be like, of course you managed to finish Star Control 2, John. Like, what are you talking about? But I mean, it was a game that was just like, you showed up, you blew up a couple of spaceships, and then it was like, great, find resources. And then you just flew to stars in, like, the galaxy and collected resources. And then, if you were lucky, when you got back to, like, Earth, the space station would be like, hey, we got a weird signal from this place. And then you're like, I'll go check it out if you had the fuel. It's weird how unfriendly games were. And yeah, I guess that translates over. Now I want to play fucking Star Control 2 again, man. See? Like, that's, oh God. Jesus Christ. Like, that's my first thing. I'm like thinking, God, it was a cryptic and weird game with lots of open space and nobody knew what the fuck was going on. I gotta go play that again. So yeah, that's my jam. Stuff that requires decrypting. As I understand it, La Mulana is gonna be something like a jam for me, as well as Fez, but I haven't had a chance to get to either one of them. So, I also played more Metro Last Light. It's growing on me.
That's good.
Yeah. Feeling better about characterization now, like, because it just sort of starts, and it's like, bleh, go do this thing, and you're like, okay. But now that I'm, invested in doing this thing and I've, met people and gone to places, yeah, there's more character to it. It's a little deeper.
Actually, I just want to, if I can cut in there, it's something I've noticed in recent games. The cold open, where you just start on, because you want to hook the player's attention. There's that critical first couple of minutes where someone could be like, oh, I don't like this game, and give up. So you want to grab them right away. But when you do that and you take too long to get around to the context, that can almost be as bad as the slow burn intro.
Oh, yeah.
I've noticed that, it seems to me at least, that a lot of modern games have overplayed that device, and I haven't really understood why you should do that thing.
They're trying to catch up to the giant trend that Christopher Nolan started when Memento started with the end of the movie. Where they were like, quick, we need something attention-grabbing. And then, maybe that has something to do with the end. Okay, now let's go back here, and then we'll, okay, action! Move! All right, so this guy, you don't know him, but... Yeah, it's all...
I mean, specifically in Memento, it's super justified by the content of the movie.
And to draw back now to a subject we were previously discussing in the conversation, everybody decided that it was so cool in Memento, then I guess they better put it in their game, even though their game/movie/art installation/apple pie has absolutely no reason for you to experience the end of it before the beginning. It's people misunderstanding what makes that product great and then trying to rip it off. Like we were talking about horror movies.
Yes, I recall that conversation.
I am glad, because otherwise it would mean that you would be forgetful, or I would be hallucinatory.
I wouldn't discount either of those.
It might be both.
Did you play anything else, or did you hallucinate playing anything else at least that you want to talk about?
I did. I just want to briefly touch on something because I finished, we talked about, I believe, when I finished, with Batman Arkham Origins a few weeks ago. I went back and played through Arkham City again, just to be like, do I misremember Batman as being compelling? Do I misremember it as being like that good a game? Was Arkham Origins really just as good, but I had dulled myself to it? Nah, Arkham City's the bomb. So fucking good.
That's cool to hear.
Yeah.
That's not an unfounded worry that it's like, City was great at the time. But now it's like I've had that experience, so maybe Origin is, very impressive, and I just don't realize it. But it's like if you play them like back to back, and City's still better.
It is.
Then there's no excuse.
It absolutely is. I mean, it's less noisy. It's got more focus. It's paced well. The characterizations are better, and I'm not just talking about the characterization of the Joker and Batman, who are obviously voiced by different actors and things like that, but the characterization of Alfred, like Robin showing up, pretty damn cool, and just the rest of the villains, they're underplayed. There's a City particularly, because City kind of banked on this sort of you have these three major villains that are duking it out. You had the Joker, you had Two-Face, you had the Penguin, who all had their own people that were just sort of hanging out. And then they had these secondary villains that weren't really vying for power, but were kind of conflicted and would sort of just pop up. Poison Ivy, Clayface, Mr. Freeze. They're not really looking to create an empire. They're not organized crime, but they're charismatic. And part of the problem with Origins is that you're dealing with a situation in which all the villains are sort of battling for power. Very few of them kind of show up to just be like, I'm here, except for the assassins.
I understand the premise is something that seems really clever to get all the villains together, but then it becomes kind of rote. It's here's another guy to kill me.
Yeah. And, it just, there was something about the navigability of city that I liked as well. Whereas Origins, sometimes they play the heights of the skyscrapers against you, where it's like, oh, Batman's grappling hook can only go so far. And it's like, oh, okay, fine. That's fine. But then I can't really move about the city feeling like Batman, where it's like, quick, you have to aim right. Oh, whereas in City, there was always a navigability to it, because none of the buildings were uniform necessarily, or at least none of the areas were uniform. Some buildings were kind of toppling. There was highway overpasses that had crumbled. So there were always sort of places to hide, always places to move. It was a very creative design. But Origins, it's just a city. Granted, it's kind of like a gothic Batman stylish city, but it was just a city, and it was like, boom, you're down on the street. Oh.
Do you think they'll have to eventually, if they're going to continue the Arkham series, to do a full actual living city full of NPCs and stuff, instead of keep concocting reasons why it's just criminals? Is that something you're interested in? Because I think, all this talk about next gen and what it means, and it's all it seems like is pixel count. That would be a kind of next gen innovation, is to here's Gotham just going about its business, full of people.
It would require a level of creativity that we seldom find in the industry, but honestly, I don't think would be impossible, and would be awesome if it happened right.
Those are the kind of innovations I'm interested in. I don't really care about second screen apps on my Windows Smart Glass.
It's all about gameplay in the end. This is the thing that the console manufacturers don't understand, because they don't make games. And, they don't, with possibly the exception of Mark Cherney, who actually makes a point of saying, yeah, we talked to the people who make games. And guess what? I made games. With the exception of Mark Cherney, I don't think the people who were in charge of, the console creation and the branding and things like that, I don't think they deal with the guys that make the video games. I don't think they do. And that's a huge goddamn tragedy, because if there was just a little bit more communication in terms of what players want from their playing experience, what game makers want to make and, try and innovate, and what console manufacturers want in terms of how they are perceived by both the game devs and the consumers, we might have a little bit more solid grounding for people trying new risky things like that. I mean, if it was so weird to have a Spider-Man game where New York City is up and running and bustling and Spider-Man's just flipping about, why is it so weird to imagine the same thing of Batman? Because it's not like you can't isolate Batman into his own atmosphere. It's not as though you can't bring him into, quote-unquote dungeons like you might in games like Zelda or Darksiders or something like that. You can still control the player's environment, but how cool would it be to be Batman and, foil a bank heist? In progress.
Yeah, those would be the actual, additions to the franchise that would make it stand out and seem, that would make it move forward into something not just replicating Arkham City.
And I mean, I'm still crossing my fingers and my toes here that Rocksteady's got something pretty deep planned, but I guess we'll see.
That seems to be the word on the street, but we'll find out one day, one way or another.
It's true.
Man, 2 hours and 20 minutes, man. You play anything else?
Not really. I took some cursory glances at things. But Deadly Premonition is still giving me grief after the last patch. So, no, nothing to any detriment.
That's cool.
I know it.
Alrighty then. Anything else you wanted to throw in here before we wrap it up?
Nah, not really. I'm just happy that we came to the conclusion that people should not eat sand.
Unless they want to. I don't wanna cast aspersions upon your lifestyle choices. If you're into that.
I will.
You will?
Oh yeah.
I
will cast aspersions. They will be cast all over the place.
You would think less of someone just because they eat sand?
You know, I might.
You judgmental prick.
Never said I wasn't.
I learned something about you today, Johnny.
You learned a couple things about me today, Austin.
Did I?
Squirtle!
It's a shame that we can't battle.
Well, I mean, we could, but it wouldn't really be boasting rights for you so much as it would just be, like, pitiable for me. I mean, at this point in time, are there any other members of BT that you have not yet stomped in the ring?
Everyone who has the game.
See, I could go out and get it, and then be like, yay! Oh, I don't think that would make you feel good, or me feel involved.
I just want to. It's not even about like having conquered you in the game. I just want to play a game with you, Johnny.
Austin?
Yes.
Farming Simulator 2013 is there whenever you want.
That reminds me. Me and you, we still need to let's play Resident Evil 6. Let's mark that on the calendar.
Do you have Resident Evil 6 on Steam?
I don't even know. I don't think so.
Oh, well then. Next
I'll
time
look
it goes on sale, you watch out, son. You watch out.